Welcome, 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 world. You are in tune to Marvelous Talk with everybody. We all here. My man Max, my man Big G. We are in attendance, and boy, do we got a lot to talk to you guys about tonight, man. I mean, listen, I am really ready to get to everything. But man, if you're here, make sure you like and subscribe. Like us on Facebook, subscribe on YouTube and Twitch so that when we go live, you will definitely get those notifications. And I just got to start out with a big wow. Wow. But I hate to say I was right, but I was right. But Max, man, set the scene for us, man. Talk. Let's go over what we saw in the series conclusion of Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Well, we start off with the rebels or what the path, the people, Ice Cube's son, Roken's there. They're on a ship. They're trying to escape the Empire. They're being chased by a Star Destroyer. And like in typical Star Wars fashion, these guys have horrible aim. There's only a million shots that have been missed. But one makes the decision. He wants me. I will lead him away. Leia's not a fan. Roken's not a fan. We can fix the ship. But Obi-Wan knows. His showdown with Vader must happen. Obi-Wan breaks off. He gets to an abandoned world, and they're just in a rocky valley. And Obi-Wan and Anakin are met face to face. So now the only difference is Anakin's been encased in a black suit of armor that tortures him and makes it able for him to survive. Obi-Wan will do what he must, and Anakin decides he's going to try to kill Kenobi. And it looks like Vader's just too strong for the old man. He's regained his strength, but it's still weaker than Vader. Vader encases Obi-Wan in a rock tomb. But Obi-Wan's not going to go out like that. He turns the tables on Vader. He's able to slice open his face, and he sees the eye of his fallen apprentice, Anakin. And it's just harrowing to see the fall. And you can tell there's no part of Anakin left. And even Anakin says it. Obi-Wan didn't kill Anakin on Mustafar. Vader killed Anakin. And then as they depart, Obi-Wan bids Darth a farewell. And earlier in the episode, Reva somehow surviving. You know her. Lightsaber to the gut. Just a little speed bump in her life. She's on the lookout for Luke. But Beru and Uncle Owen are there to protect him. But she's able to track down Luke in the Tatooine desert. She defeats them. But she cannot bring herself to become Anakin and kill an innocent. She brings him back to their, desert igloo would be the best term to call it. Their
desert igloo, yes.
Desert igloo.
It's the farm, man. It's the farm.
Yeah.
It's a desert igloo, though, man. It's an igloo. You know what I'm saying? Only thing is it's not made of ice. If it was made of ice, it'd be an igloo.
I'll wrap it up real quick. So Reva confronts Obi-Wan saying, I don't want to become like him. And Obi-Wan confirms, you're not like him. She's going to seek redemption. And Obi-Wan, it's time for him to move on. He leaves his cave with the beachfront view, if there was a beach, more like a desert front view. And he introduces himself to Luke. And as he's wandering the desert, an old friend meets us in Qui-Gon Jinn, projecting himself as a Force ghost. Doesn't make sense in the canon, but we're going to get into that. And that's the end of Obi-Wan Season 1.
Wow. I got stuff, man. I got stuff. They created some plot holes. Yes, they did. They absolutely did. It created some plot holes. I like the ending. The Emperor is still just, twisting and pulling. He got the strings on Vader. He's puppeteering Anakin, man. He like, I just kind of feel like your feelings on this subject ain't right, man. Basically insinuating, do I got to get me another apprentice? You know what I'm saying? Do I need to find me somebody else? And he like, nah, I'm good. You just got whipped. You know how you get whipped? You're like, yeah, I'm good. Yeah, that's how it was. He felt like, okay.
Looked pretty like unshriveled. I guess he's been spending a lot of time in Bacta or something. I don't know. Big G, what'd you think about that whole Emperor playing Vader like a child, basically, like he's done Anakin's whole life?
That's pretty much what he's done from the beginning, And Anakin Skywalker, Darth Vader, is locked and loaded on power. He's obsessed with it. And because of his obsession with power, he's loyal to only who he feels or thinks has power. And so that's why Palpatine keeps playing him like a puppet, because all he cares about is power. He wants to be. You ever been around people that always thought that they was the guy, but they weren't the guy? They was just standing next to the guy. So Vader's the guy standing next to the guy, standing next to the guy, trying to figure out how he can get to become the guy. And because he's so obsessed with power that he's been killing everything he's ever ran across, pretty much from the time after he became a little kid to a teenager. He kills everything. That's what he does. So,
Big G, I'm not saying you're obsessed with power, but if there was someone we were gonna declare the emperor in this pod, he wears a beanie indoors. I'll just put it like that.
Yeah.
Unlimited power.
But no, where do we jump out? Do we start in the beginning? Did you like Obi-Wan's plan? I mean, look, stormtroopers suck at aiming. Like Darth Vader should have killed everyone on that ship.
Let's go. Let's back this up. Let's back this truck up, man. You know what I'm saying? You're right. I don't know what type of navigation. Well, I mean, I'm talking about not just navigation, but I'm talking about the arm system of these Star Destroyers. Y'all aim suck, bro. Like, y'all, I mean, for real, like, y'all suck. It's like they give them weapons and they don't even train them on how to use them. They're like, hey, just push this button. It's like they're playing
they're
Asteroids.
No clone troopers,
y'all remember Asteroids? Y'all remember the game Asteroids where you like spinning the ball? And
Mod really showing his age on that reference. But
I grew up like playing Asteroids, bro.
Right. The issue is that it made a reference to the first Star Wars movie where you see Vader chasing Leia, but it made a reference to that. But the bigger thing is that if you remember, I don't know about you guys, but when I went and saw the Attack of the Clones, right? And when I thought that the Jedi was going to get wiped out, and when them clone troopers came in there, you talking about aim. They was hauling cats out. They wasn't missing nothing. And so that plays into the fact of, as these ain't clones. These ain't Jingo Fett. These are some everyday average clowns that ain't have no training, but thought they was just going to run and be part of the, of the empire. And shoot, that's why they're trash, because they just everyday average Joes that they just put in a suit. Remember, that's the whole play that they played on in the 3 episodes of Star Wars that we hate the most. That those guys were actually just troops. So, they were just people. They weren't clones.
That just makes it, I think, more impressive. The Empire was able to survive as long as it did with arguably the worst troops in history.
With the worst soldiers in history. You guys are trash. But okay, so to get back, I was right. I told you there was going to be.
Come on.
I
you
told
said
you
it 3 times already. I was wrong.
I
was wrong.
Yeah, I was right. Yeah, I told you it was going to be another showdown. I said, hey, it'd be another showdown. It is what it is. I told you Reva was going to go to the house, you know what I'm saying, and try to get Luke. But here's the deal. Let's talk about Reva for a second. I know you don't like Reva as a character, but the redemptive arc on her is cool. I think if they use some of that next year and use that as, her being a part of the early rebellion and literally giving her life at some point for laying down her life for the rebellion. I think that would be awesome. I think it would be super awesome if we saw that, because honestly, she caused way too much havoc just going out of revenge. You know what I'm saying? And just for revenge, just pure rage and revenge. And did you see when her lightsaber got red when she was at her maddest? When it got really, really red? I was like, yo,
it would be really awesome if she could give her life for the rebellion maybe 2 minutes into the second season, so I never have to see her again. I just don't the character for me does nothing. I don't care. I'm not. I can't believe you're as invested in Reva as you are. I don't know how Big G feels, but I don't care about her. I don't care about her little quarrel with Vader. I have to get him back. It's there's other ways. You could have just trained as a Jedi and got strong enough and then went to go kill him. You have to join the Sith to get close to him. I don't get it. I don't like her. I think if Baru and Owen were anything capable, they would have like murdered her in about 2 seconds, but they suck. They were like, oh, we'll just let her get right next to us and then we'll attack. It's like, how about you like take your sniper out in the desert? There's nothing for miles. There's no cover. Shoot her in the head, get it over, put her down. She's already wounded. When a horse breaks its leg, what do? You put it down.
Yeah, but Max, you got to remember, but Reva is still Jedi / Seth / Force sensitive /
but
powerful
she's
enough to be an Inquisitor.
I'm just saying, what does she do for the story? Every minute that I watched her, trying to get in there, I was like, I just want another minute with Obi-Wan and Vader. I don't want to see any. Like, I would love to get the times for how much she was in the episode because it was like 80% too much. I wanted to see Anakin and Obi-Wan fight the whole episode. I want to see them. I don't care about Reva.
I think they set her up for season 2. And I really do believe that she's going to be part of the reason why the Inquisitors get wiped out. Because if you can't kill Vader, you take the next thing close to it. So I think Reva's going to be stealth, knocking them Inquisitors off left and right. She's been changed, Basically, she's been changed. She said, "Okay, now since I can't haul Luke out, and I can't haul out Vader, I gotta haul out somebody." So she's looking at the Inquisitors like, "I'm about to get y'all."
And Max, you're gonna get your wish. This was my last thing I was saying about her, Reva. You're gonna get your wish because she has to go. She's the only other person in the universe besides the initial 3 that know that Vader got kids. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And that information can't fall in the wrong hands. So she got to get out of here. They got an offer. You know what I'm saying?
Fingers crossed, guys. Fingers crossed. I'm just not a fan of her. It's not the actress. She does a good job as Reva. It's just in this episode, I was like, there's too much Reva. And I want to touch something that Big G said. He was talking about the imagery of the first Star Wars episode 4. I know Big G was like 20 years old when he saw that movie for the first time. I'm kidding. He's not that old,
bro.
He's not that old. But I mean, look, someone similar to your age just made an asteroids joke. I'm just saying. I'm just gonna put that out there. But look, when you see Anakin and Obi-Wan meet up in that desert, it's all like episode 3 imagery. And then it's like they're saying the same lines. And then Vader has Vader has the high ground. He's like on top of Obi-Wan. And I was waiting for him to say, hey, it's over. I have the high ground.
Yeah, I was waiting for it. I was definitely waiting for it. But I like the fact of where he was like, yo, I see your strength done came back. You know what I'm saying? He was like, yeah, okay, we not sparring no more. It's a fight. Yeah. And, I was fully expecting Qui-Gon to come in at that point. I wanted more of Qui-Gon Jinn. You know what I'm saying? We got him at the end. I wanted more. I needed more. You know what I'm saying? I thought we were going to get more Qui-Gon for the fact that, when it came down to, I was like, yo, he going to show him how to whoop him. He didn't. Obi-Wan just kind of, did what he did. And I think that was a cool thing that you mentioned earlier, about him saying, yo, you didn't kill Anakin. Vader killed Anakin. You know what I'm saying? And literally, I think that was a release for Obi-Wan at that moment. He kind of gave himself the permission to walk away from the Anakin Skywalker business, because before he was just whining. Anakin, I'm so sorry. I failed you, brother. Listen, the first time Anakin swings something at me, I'm swinging back. And I'm swinging for the fences just like he is. Hey, man, you tripping. It is what it is. You tripping.
How did you guys feel about Vader's little, part where his helmet was removed? Because we've seen that before in Rebels. And you actually get to see Anakin's eye, when he sees Ahsoka, because his eyes are, red in that whole showdown with Obi-Wan. It's like he's Sith still. Did you guys like seeing that part of him? You get to hear Hayden Christensen mixed in with James Earl Jones. I thought it was excellent. Cool. It just kind of took the initial coolness for me, just because I had seen it before. I already saw it, and I was like, "Damn, that's such a good idea." I wish this was the first time we saw it. if that makes sense. I just want to get what you guys thought and like the impact of like what he said to Obi-Wan, because I agree with Ma when he said that. Obi-Wan was like, I think it like triggered in his head like, oh no, he's gone.
Yeah, I think first of all, let me say this. I thought that the fight between Obi-Wan and Darth Vader was one of the best fights I've ever seen in Star Wars, man. I did not realize how powerful Obi-Wan was in not just saber play, but his ability to manipulate the Force. Obi-Wan made Yoda look like a scrub in that fight. Literally, he was hauling. Vader hauled him out and threw a cave on top of him, but then he hauled Vader out. You know, like he whooped Vader's behind. You know, and cracked his helmet, bust his chest open, all whatever else. So I like that. But I also love the fact how they played on the fact that really behind it all, Vader is a broken person. He's not. It's like almost like we made him the super powerful thing because, at least to me as a kid, you know, I was like, oh, that's the first evil dude that I ever saw, and I was like, man, this dude is like sort of boss. Excuse me, but he's not all that powerful. At the end of the day, he's Anakin behind the shield. So playing on, and he's a broken Anakin behind the shield. So playing on the fact of is that Obi-Wan, like, you really could haul this dude out if you wanted to, and you gave him grace. And the fact that, you know, Vader is not as all powerful as what we thought. I love that aspect of how they played on it, because we see the flip side.
Well, G, you got to think about this, G.
Yeah,
you got to think about this. When we caught Star Wars, right? In the original Star Wars,
yeah,
he was the only Force sensitive or Jedi out there other than Obi-Wan and Yoda. He was
Yoda wasn't even episode 1. It was Obi-Wan, Vader, and that we found out that Luke was like Obi-Wan, right? And then we got this whole world build out of all these Force sensitive Sith, all whatever Jedi. It's all these other things out there.
But think, we saw no other Jedi. We saw no other Jedi in this whole thing, right?
Well, that's where I think our experiences kind of play into it, because the first Star Wars I ever saw was Phantom Menace. So I was like, damn, there's so many Jedi. Like, this is pretty cool. Like, I can get how different it is. And maybe this is something we should have talked about earlier. What was it like for you two when you see Vader's mangled face in episode 6? Because I saw Vader get chopped up. Like, I was like, oh, crap. I already knew how he got in there when I watched episode 6. I was only like 9 years old when it came out. So what was it like, the initial seeing him? Like, what questions did it raise in your head the first time you saw him, like, take off his mask as he's dying in episode 6?
You go first.
I think it played into the redemptive arc that Mom was talking about with Reva. You know, we saw, like I said, Vader was the ultimate evil. I mean, I remember as a kid, it was like Skeletor, Darth Vader, what's his name? King Cobra, or Cobra Kai, or whatever the guy was in G.I. Joe. Those were like all the guys that lined up as like the evil people, right? And so to see Vader, as far as me as a kid, that was the first villain I ever seen redeemed, ever. So it was like, man, it changed my whole experience.
You forgot Megatron.
Yeah, but Megatron, I hate Megatron. But anyway,
but like, when you see his mangled face, like, what did you think happened to him? That's what I'm curious. Like, what did you think right there? You're like, dang, this dude really is messed up.
Well, yeah, right. I remember the fact that they said that, you know, he became more
machine than man.
Machine than man. He was like, you know. So I mean, I was waiting to see, like, you know, oh wow, I knew it was James Earl Jones, but I thought maybe we were gonna see James Earl Jones in the thing. But no, I mean, that's what it was for me. That's what it was for me.
Yeah, I know the arc of redemption was huge for Vader, you know. And then, you know, and then realizing that there were more than just Luke, Vader, Yoda, Obi-Wan. There was Leia. And then if there's Leia, how many more is he? You know, and then to get the backdrop story, like to find out that there was a whole, basically a religion, you know, and there was really thousands of them. and to see him getting cut down and chopped down to 2 and few, man, that's a trip. Now that I've seen the whole story, see it play out. You know,
I think a lot of times and stuff like movies and cinema, that a lot of times like the most evil people are like, let's just say handsome on the outside, like American Psycho, Christian Bale's a nut job, but or he's a serial killer or something, but he's dapper. And Maude, for instance, I know total tough guy, like grizzly bear looking guy, but he's a nice dude. And but for Vader, it's like the tattered, broken man he is on the outside is what he was on the inside. So Luke saved him. Yeah, and I think that shows what you guys are talking about. That,
and then the other thing is that like Big G said, the redemptive part of it. Luke had brought him full. Luke was saying what his mama had said, right? And we didn't get it until we got both parts of it. She was like, Obi-Wan, there's still good in him. I could feel it. Mm-hmm. And then Luke said later, there's good in you. I can feel it. You know what I'm saying?
And Vader's like, no, there's not. There's not. But I think he knew when he was saying that. He's just trying to deny the fact. Because when he's been something for so long. I think
they showed that this episode, that there's still good in him. Because he buried Obi-Wan. He knew he didn't kill him.
I think he wanted him to like die a slow, painful death. Like that's why you lit him on fire for 15 minutes. Like, I don't think Anakin would be satisfied if he just impaled him. Well, that doesn't work anymore. If he beheaded Obi-Wan, he wanted him to suffer because Anakin's life since that was been suffering and just pain.
Yeah, but hey, him creating that cave to put him in was dope. The brother hit the floor. Hey, that's what you call hitting the floor and crack the whole floor and just bury the brother. But I think
Palpatine sensed it. I think Palpatine sensed the struggle. That's why he was toying with him. He's like, wait a minute. You're supposed to be sold out to me, bro. Mm-hmm. Don't make me kill you, Anakin. don't make me do something strange to you, Anakin.
Vader's
I'll crush you.
Vader's like that guy who hates his job, but you're like, why did you work here for like 30 years? But you hate it.
Yeah,
it's like, I hate this place, but I can't leave.
Yeah, like that's gonna be us in 30 years when we're still doing this podcast. But like we can never leave. But as the episode progresses, then we're on Tatooine, which we kind of talked about with Beru and Owen. They're trying to defend a young Luke who's just like no care in the world. He's like, well, I'm just a kid,
right?
And they're able to. Reva actually kind of defeats them, but she should. They're just like two simpletons, and she's trained in the Force. But did you guys like how when she was gonna like slay Luke, she popped up in there?
Yeah, I did because it hit home. It hit home. She identified with him because she was like, you know what? I got to make a choice. Do I become pure evil, or understand what my motive really is? Is I want Vader. I want Anakin Skywalker because he's the one that got us. So me killing this baby ain't gonna make my life any better. So she had to, and she chose right. I love anytime they put an opportunity for a character to choose which way they're going to go, right? I love that. Anytime I see that in a show, because sometimes folks do the bad thing and make horrible decisions, and it just takes 10 years. They make one bad decision, and it takes 20 years to fix it, or their lifetime of their thing to fix it. But sometimes they make the right decision, and it changes their path. So I love the fact that they did that for her character.
Yeah, definitely. Now, how cold was it when Obi got in his stance and he pulled back? You knew he was ready. He pulled back when he got in the stance with the lightsaber. I was like, oh man.
That was one of my favorite parts of the show. Just seeing him with the two fingers pointed at Vader, showing why he's the master of Sorisu, his fighting stance, the ultimate defensive Jedi.
Yeah.
It was just, I think this was the best episode by far. And that's just my opinion.
Yeah.
Hey man, I'm gonna tell you, I got hype. I was at that point, I was hype. And seeing him, move from his river of sand, where his ocean of sand. I mean, Tatooine is the most popular place and most popping place in the Star Wars universe. Everything happens in Tatooine. But seeing him move and seeing him hop back on the beast, And well, first, before we kind of wrap this up, and I have to say this: the way I felt, the satisfaction I felt when he gave Luke the toy, right? Because it was like, okay, this is how Luke got the toy, right? This is how he got it, because this is how he was shooting wombats with it. You know what I'm saying? And he's playing and using that toy, and that's how he was honing his skills in the Force, and that's how he knew being as old being, right? So it's like, it's dope. That was so dope for me, and that was like the end. And then seeing him, I wanted more time with Qui-Gon. I wanted more time.
Well,
I needed more time.
You're gonna get more time because I think there's gonna be an episode in the Jedi Tales of the Jedi, which is coming out, and I'm pretty sure if there's a season 2 of this show, which why wouldn't there be? Because everyone wants it, including Hayden Christensen, including Ewan McGregor. But I want to talk about one last thing. This is just my last thoughts on the show. Do you think this show suffers from, like, I guess, lack of the unknown? Because so many of the key things happen to Leia and Luke, and it's like, well, and even Obi-Wan and Anakin. So would this show be better if you say you never watched Star Wars and you watched episodes 1, 2, 3, and then you watch this show and you didn't know what happened before? It would be better, right?
Yeah. It's how hard is it to make a story when you already know the outcome, right? And I think Disney did a pretty decent job without pulling in George Lucas, without pulling in any of those people that's tied to his tree, and to create a story where you already know the outcome. You know Leia's not going to die. You know Obi-Wan's not going to die. You know Vader's not going to die. You know Luke's not going to die. Because they have it's canon. So for them to create a story that you already know the ending, I think I give the overall show an 8 out of 10. I give it an 8 out of 10. I really do believe that.
Yeah, I mean, think about Roken. I'm excited, Max. That's a great question you asked, man. I mean, Roken is a new character. We asked for new characters, right? And Roken is like the beginning of the Resistance. You know what I'm saying? He's the beginning of the Resistance. He's gonna be the leader until we get to Rogue One. You know what I mean? And then when we get to Rogue One, and maybe this is where is Andor kind of like in the middle of everything as well, or is it after?
I think Andor's in the middle of everything. Correct.
Yeah. I mean, this is how we're building another story, and I think that's good, man. I think it's good. So you guys, man, one thing happened. I know y'all probably went to sleep and woke up today and saw something really nice on Disney Plus. Guess what? If you guys haven't seen Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, it is now streaming on Disney Plus, and man, you can go check it out. You can watch it, get all those Easter eggs that you missed that we talked to y'all about. They're there. Definitely you can string the movies together for yourself. I'm excited that it's there. I know G's excited. He's done already watched it, probably twice already. This dude here, man, I don't know how he does it.
I got up this morning real early and did some things. Checked it out before I walked out the door to go to my employer today. So I checked it out early, and it's believe it or not, it's in IMAX like the rest of them, and the quality is very good. There were some things I saw in the rewatch of it that I didn't pick up on the first one. So, but after I give my teammates an opportunity to check it out, we'll probably chop it up a little bit on Saturday concerning the show, because there's some stuff I saw that I promise you I didn't see it the first time. I didn't see it. I was like, wait a minute, that was in the movie? So it was really worth it. It was really worth it to watch it the second time in the privacy of my home on IMAX,
Yeah. I liked it, man. I definitely dug it. Now, we got Miss Marvel. Miss Marvel has been welcomed. I think it's really been really, really good, and it's getting better episode by episode. Max, kind of walk us through the Miss Marvel episode.
The episode picks up with Kamran. He brought her to his mom's, and there you find that. Well, let me rephrase. The episode starts in 1942 in English-occupied India. There you see Kamala Khan's great-grandmother with the bracelet, just one of them, and you see her with her friend. And then they hug, and then it flashes back to modern day. You don't know really what happened. There we find that, hey, she never really came back. They don't know what happened to her. And I mean, tell me what you guys think real quick. It just had bad vibes written all over it when they're like, oh, we need your help. Like, yeah, we're going to be patient with you. It just reeked of like, these people are not going to be friendly.
You're not they were disingenuous.
Yes.
First and foremost, I have to apologize to my brother. I have to apologize to Big G. I thought that was her great grandmother. It was not. He was absolutely right. I argued him down that was like, yeah, that was a great grandmother. So hey, listen, I always admit when I'm wrong.
That's not true. Nothing. Go ahead. What'd you say?
Yeah, I heard what you said. Listen, the gist of the matter is that when it came down to it, G spot on. I mean, the kid is going to be, I think, a character we're going to live with moving forward. And watching Kamala talk to those people, it just seems slimy. Even when they found the bracelet, she was like, I thought there was two, because she wanted the other one, right? And it's just like it felt disingenuous, even when they were showing us the flashback. So I was like, oh.
And you find out they're from a different dimension. They're from the Jinn. They're Jinn. DJNN, the Jinn. I don't know, or DJINN, whatever the spelling is. And Kamala's like, okay, we can try to help. And then she recruits the help of Bruno. They need to read a paper by Dr. Eric Selvig. More on that in a little bit, if you guys remember who he is.
Loving it.
That was awesome to hear that little name drop. But Kamala Khan, she's struggling. The mosque is invaded by the wrecking crew, or it was damage control. Excuse me. Yeah. They were like, hey, we want to find out who did this, who this person is. And I feel like they're building up so much just mother and daughter stuff. I mean, that's been at the forefront of the show, the mother and daughter. And they're like, hey, your mom didn't come to my wedding. Why would she come to my son's wedding? Because Kamala's brother is about to be married. And they're like hitting you in the face with mom issues. And then she goes, my daughter won't make trouble for me. And then you're hearing people don't really they call her the Nightlight. That name sucks. We agree. Horrible nickname, but that's pretty funny because that's what a kid will probably come up with. Someone would come up with that dumb name. But we fast forward to her brother's wedding. It's all going according to plan. I don't know how you guys felt. I love seeing the Pakistani tradition where you say I do 3 times.
Loved it.
They were way too nonchalant about being married. That was totally too nonchalant. But at the wedding, you see an amazing dance number. But Cameron, he finds out his mom's like, I'm not waiting for her. She's going to help us, whether she wants to or not. They basically attack Kamala at the wedding. She pulls the fire alarm. Everyone gets out. She's fighting them for dear life. And I think this is one of the more intriguing fight scenes, just a way it's executed. But we'll get more into that later. And it ends with, her friend sees her as basically Miss Marvel and she needs to leave. And Cameron came to help her. But the Jinn is after her.
The gin and juice?
That's what I was thinking. As soon as they said gin, I was like, all right, I'm laid back.
So, the thing I loved about this episode is the culture. Man, Marvel, A+, bro. A+ on bringing in, you felt a part of the culture, the Pakistani culture. You felt a part of it. They brought you into the family, and you felt like, hey man, this is my family. You know what I mean? It's almost what they, and I'll give the floor to G after this. Captain in America, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Captain in America and the Winter Soldier brought you into that whole world and made you feel a part of it, and you felt the struggle in which they were trying to. They did it with the dialogue, they did it with the situations, they did it with the scenery, they did it with the actual wardrobe, right? They're doing it again with Miss Marvel, and they're doing it with the scenery, they're doing it with the dialogue, they're doing it with just the storytelling, and you feel engrafted in that world. And they do that with Shang-Chi, they did it with Black Panther. Kudos. A+, Marvel. A+.
Yeah. I agree 100%, man. I think that that's part of the reason why they're top dogs as far as bringing us content and product, because they draw you to the characters. I mean, I'm just gonna say this briefly that a lot of folks was really skeptical about how this Miss Marvel thing was gonna turn out because they were like, man, it's for kids and all whatever else. And I beg to differ. And part of the reason why is because how much they've sold the culture of Miss Marvel into Kamala Khan, and she's Pakistani, and they've sold that culture to you, and that's going to be huge as moving forward as far as her character and how she becomes the hero that we know as Miss Marvel. So you, like Mod said and like Max said, A+.
I agree with you guys, and I think it's interesting to talk about because you guys are seeing like that culture, and I mean I'm a part of that. I'm not Pakistani, but I'm Middle Eastern, and the big family and stuff. Yeah, I've seen that my whole life. I've seen weird wedding not weird, but just foreign wedding traditions my whole life and stuff like that, and the vibrant colors and stuff. That's how it is, and I think it's just interesting that a lot of people who maybe you guys are familiar with it, maybe you're not, but you're going to get familiar with it after this, and
You're
it's
not.
cool. Why does
Yeah.
every superhero can be different? Like if there was a Italian superhero and there was some Italian stuff, oh cool, what's wrong with that?
Nothing.
Yes,
Nothing.
Right.
And I think
coming.
yeah, when it comes down to it, I think it's one of those things where it's welcomed. It's about time we get some diversity inside of the comic world. You know what I'm saying? Not every hero has to be blonde hair and blue eyes. You know what I'm saying? Not every hero has to be, one way. There should be different heroes in different ways. You
Or
know
how
what I'm
about
saying?
just like they don't have to all be strong and like masculine, or they can
Right.
be, awkward and more cerebral. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, definitely.
Because that's the premise of Stan Lee and Jack Kirby from the beginning. Stan Lee and Jack Kirby wrote stories in order about culture and people to let everybody see themselves in the stories and in the culture. I'm talking about way back in the 50s and the 60s when they was writing like these books that's all behind them. When they was getting down like that, they was writing it so that way they would sell you into the culture.
They were ahead of their time, especially like, this isn't an amazing example, but Spider-Man, one of the coolest things, and you can hear Stan Lee talk about this, is anyone can imagine themselves behind that mask. And it's one of the reasons I love the game Halo. The character doesn't talk. It's like, dang, I'm in the character's shoes. And that's what, like, when you can immerse yourself in it and believe that can be you, that's when you hit gold. And Kamala Khan's just like, I know superpowers are far-fetched, but she's just a normal person. She's awkward. She's a teenager. She's going through dumb crap that every teenager goes through. She thinks she's smart. She's fighting with her parents. She feels like an outcast. Who can't relate to that?
Right.
I agree.
Right.
Totally, man.
Definitely.
Hey,
and then the challenges of a culture just make it even that much more dramatic. You know what I'm saying? Because you look at it and just having some friends that are Pakistani a little bit. I know a little bit. I've seen enough to where I could be dangerous. You know what I'm saying? Because I could probably do the wrong thing at the wrong time. You know what I'm saying? But seeing how the difference between how they treat their daughters and their sons night and day, and they've captured that. You know what I mean? They captured that with Kamala and her brother Amir. They've captured it. The dynamic is real, and I love it. I love it. Can't say enough about it.
In earlier episodes, she was like, Amir could do whatever he wanted. That's totally true. Coming from a Middle Eastern home, my mom says it about her own brother. Like, he was like the crown jewel. Not that their parents treated him a lot better, but it's just a little different when you're the only boy in the family. Because a lot of that old school thinking is the boy carries the name. He's kind of the future. And I know it's archaic. I know it doesn't sound right, but that's just how it was. That's how it was. Go ahead.
That's the makeup of any hero, of any superhero. The backdrop of a superhero, the trauma in their life make them who they are. So we're seeing trauma built in Kamala Khan a little different because there's a try to a culture, equality rights, equal rights, as well as acceptance, as well as her going through the whole issue of being a female and a teenager. So that's making her when we get the end game and we get the end product. But she's building to become. She's not Miss Marvel yet, and she's building to become that. So Well, slowly but surely, we're finding out who she is. But that's the makeup of every hero that's ever existed. The stuff that happens that turns them into what they are.
Do you guys think that like there's little scenes in this show, and I guess all Marvel shows, that just kind of separate it from maybe a DC show or another show? Like, you know, the part where her dad goes to get the fruit, like the hostess treat, and he's like, "I'm forbidden." It's like, that's so relatable. Like when I was a kid, I wasn't supposed to drink soda, and I would sneak off to go get a soda. And I'm sure you guys have done similar stuff. I just think that's so like, it's so whatever. You can gloss over it, but that's what makes people like, oh, that's a cool scene.
Yeah,
like that
and that's what that makes it, like what you just mentioned earlier, the paper by the doctor from Thor. How you tie that in? That's attention to detail. That's attention to detail. Now, the very end. Go ahead.
I got it. But even this, how do you have the circle of the 10 rings back in a shot in 1942 that they make sure that they go up in the air and tell you that this little tomb where they found the bracelet at, the 10 rings was at the base of it? What's that all about? Oh, I know. Breadcrumbs. Because I know this is 10-year run. And that's what I told the guys before we jumped on air, is that they're laying stuff down. And this is what Marvel does. They lay stuff down that the payoff is going to be so big, you're like, when you see it, you're going to be like, oh my God, and that's, why else do you think we got a Thor 4? It's because they laid breadcrumbs down for Thor in Thor 1, and now we're in Thor 4. When outside him being in Avengers movies and Doctor Strange, the dude's been all over the place because they set characters up for tremendous runs. And that's what I'm seeing with Miss Marvel. They're laying stuff down that in 2, 3, 4 years, we'll be like, oh, wow, that's tied to that. That's tied to that. Genius.
Yeah. I think Disney Plus has just made them like the sandbox they play in just more effective.
Yes.
That's how it's done.
Yes. So the very end scene, we got her grandmother calling her.
Nani.
Yeah. Nani calling her, and she's like, yo, you ain't see the train? She's like, how do you? Because the character and Kamala got into it, and they grabbed the bangle at the same time, and they saw a train about to hit them. Nani saw the train too. How did Nani see the train?
Nani mixed up her heart medication with her blood pressure medication and was drinking heavily that night. But no. It just ties back into that scene we saw in the beginning from 1942.
Nah, there's some stuff going on, man. There's some stuff. Listen, you guys said that they're called the Jinn, right? They're actually not called. They are Jinn, but they're not. What they are, supposedly, is clandestine. That's a huge deep cut for Marvel Comics. I gave the fellas some information earlier and showed them, and I know they was probably like, dude, where you pull these rabbits out your hat at? Well, I know deep cut Marvel stuff, right? So they're clandestine. Clandestine are genies, devils, things that roam in the shadows because they're from the Nord dimension. Supposedly, that's what they are. But I think that they might be the ones that's been exalted from the Nord dimension to have to come and live for Earth forever. But I think there's something going on because I really do believe this, and I'm calling it on the show tonight. I don't believe that Kamala Khan is 100% clandestine and 100% Jinn. And what I believe is this is how they're going to tie the Inhuman storyline into Marvel without remaking the stuff that they did for the ABC show and all whatever else. This is how they're going to set up Inhumans, because I think you'll get a setup to where Kamala Khan is part clandestine, but she was born in our dimension, because they made some lame excuse talking about, well, her being born in our dimension, that's how she's able to do A, B, C, and D. That's trash. That's a made-up story. I believe she's part clandestine, but I also believe she's part something else. Well, anytime you, in the comics, when you mix part of one thing with a human, you get an inhuman. And I'm telling you, so we've seen it in the trailers, because now we done found out who these supposed Jinn are that's fighting her. Well, who's that group where you see all the mist come and they're standing all behind the mist and they saber? That ain't the same folks that she's fighting right now. So who are those people? And
Well,
I really do believe that
we're gonna find it out. We're gonna find it out because she's on her way. She's on her way home. You know what I'm saying? She's that we know this next episode is gonna be at her crib. You know, so she's gonna be there with Nani. So you know, definitely getting ready to get out. Parting shots. Let's go, Max. Give me a parting shot, sir.
Obi-Wan for me was kind of a mixed bag, but it ended on a good note. So I hope it gets to season 2, and I think it will. And can we just get some more time with Qui-Gon Jinn? Is that so hard? Like some live action Qui-Gon Jinn? Can we get some origin stories for our favorite heroes? Mace Windu, Jango Fett, Yoda. Not really. He's a bum, but let's go. Let's get some of the old stories.
Wouldn't it be great if in the next Obi-Wan they actually brought a Force Ghost? Mace Windu in, y'all. Man,
I mean that would be cool, but I feel like you just can't keep going back to the Force Ghost well like that. The way they made it seem like in the beginning was this is very specialized. Qui-Gon knew it because he was kind of a rogue and a maverick, and he wasn't scared to interact with other people. But why not just make there was a Star Wars book called Shatterpoint that's one of the most beloved books. It talks about Mace going back home. Talks about how he had to go defeat a fallen Padawan. Why can't we just see that? 8 episodes about that. Why not? Samuel Jackson's down.
Yeah, definitely. Big G, parting shots. Let's go.
All right. Got to set up the big bad. That's what I'm saying. They're setting up the big bad. That's what Miss Marvel, it's about creating a character, creating a hero, creating some sub-villains, but they're setting up the big bad. Part 1 set up the big bad was Shang-Chi discovering the rings. Part 2, Kamala Khan and her having the bracelet. They're setting up the big bad. The big bad might not necessarily be Kang. The big bad might not necessarily be Dr. Doom. But believe me what I'm telling you, they're setting up the big bad. This is part 1 and 2. And I think you'll see part 3 in Thor Love and Thunder. They're setting up the big bad. Everything ties to the big bad that's coming. I ain't gonna ruin it. I ain't gonna ruin it. Yeah, I ain't gonna ruin it because I think I done figured it out. But they're setting up the big bad. And if it is who I think it is, man, in about 3 years, woo, man, you might see the greatest movie that they ever made in the history of movies in about 3 years.
It wouldn't be a marvelous show if Big G didn't say that phrase.
Nah. But we might get the pub because our review of it, because hey, it's 6/23, 2022, and I called the big bad, and I'm telling you they're setting up the big bad. Then in the 3 years it pays off. Oh man, come on, man, come on. Either I know somebody or I know something, and I think I know something more than I know somebody. So
hey,
I'm not gonna argue with you, G.
I'm not gonna argue with him either, because he get down the rabbit hole, and sometimes he Doc Browns it. You know what I'm saying? He flux capacity. He finds the flux capacitor and just figures stuff out. But man, if you like what you heard, make sure you like and subscribe. Like us on Facebook, subscribe on YouTube and Twitch. Definitely, when we go live, you will be able to check us out. For myself, for Big G, for Obi-Wan, who still has the high ground, we gonna holler at you boys. We'll see y'all on Saturday. Peace.